One sitting president calls another a killer. The other president retorts, "It takes one to know one." This is not a scene from a high-drama political web series. This is a real-life exchange between the leaders of two superpowers. US President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Between Washington and Moscow, words seem to be flying like missiles these days. Look at this.
You know Vladimir Putin, you think he's a killer?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You know Vladimir Putin, you think he's a killer?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And you know, I remember in my childhood, when we argued in the courtyard, we used to say, "It takes one to know one."
You saw that. This exchange only suggests the depths to which US-Russia relations have sunk. It also signals the depths to which diplomacy has sunk, right to the bottom of the geopolitical deep sea. Another heated exchange took place recently, and it happened in the presence of cameras and journalists. On one end were US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. They were facing off with China's senior-most foreign policy official Yang Chi and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. It was supposed to be the first high-level engagement under the Biden administration. It ended up being an ill-tempered and undiplomatic sparring match. Watch this.
A confident country is able to look hard at its own shortcomings and constantly seek to improve. And that is the secret sauce of America.
我们把你们想得太好了，我们认为你们会遵守基本的外交礼节。
Well, I think we thought too well of the United States. We thought that the U.S. side will follow the necessary diplomatic protocols.
所以我们刚才必须阐明我们的立场。
So for China, it was necessary that we make our position clear.
我现在讲一句，你们没有资格在中国的面前说你们从实力的地位出发同中国谈话。
So let me say here that in front of the Chinese side, the United States does not have the qualification to say that it wants to speak to China from a position of strength.
20年前、30年前，你们就没有这个地位讲这个话，因为中国人是不吃这一套的。
Now, the U.S. side was not even qualified to say such things even 20 years or 30 years back, because this is not the way to deal with the Chinese people.
This is not the way to deal with the Chinese people. It's a bit rich coming from China, that almost always deals with every country using aggression and intimidation. Anyway, the point we're trying to make here is that diplomacy today has become so abrasive and combative, and it's nothing less than those cringe reality TV shows that some of us binge watch. How did things come to such a pass? How did diplomacy become about name-calling and open bickering? Here's a report.
World leaders insulting each other is not unprecedented. Diplomatic insults have been flying for decades. Richard Nixon once dubbed Canada's Pierre Trudeau as a pompous egghead. George W. Bush once called North Korea's Kim Jong-il a pygmy. Hugo Chavez called Barack Obama a poor ignoramus. And French leader Nicolas Sarkozy called Benjamin Netanyahu a liar. World leaders have long mocked each other. Then came Donald Trump. And all previous barbs hurled by world leaders turned pale in comparison. Mockery was his favorite tool. On Twitter, at campaign rallies,
he was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's.
Even at the United Nations.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Trump hurled the most inane insults at world leaders and countries. He called Justin Trudeau two-faced.
Well, he's two-faced.
Labeled Syria's President Bashar al-Assad an animal. Warned Iran of consequences the likes of which few have suffered before. Labeled Venezuela, Cuba and Nicaragua as the troika of tyranny. And as for Kim Jong-un, Trump called him a little rocket man. Dotard. Trump could be forgiven for speaking his mind out. But what about those who once complained that diplomatic put-downs shouldn't get personal?
You know Vladimir Putin, you think he's a killer?
I do.
So what price must he pay?
The price he's going to pay, well, you'll see shortly.
With that, US President Joe Biden has continued Trump's legacy of calling world leaders names. And this mockery is no longer limited to world leaders. Watch this.
所以我想，
So I think it's best for our two countries to take care of our business. There is no need to just take your own domestic problems that have yet to be solved and use them as targets against other countries on an international level. China has managed China's problems on its own. We have raised the living standards of 1.4 billion people. This is the aim of China's foreign diplomacy. At the same time, we will make our own contributions to world peace.
提高。
Donald Trump may have left office, but his style of politics seems to have permeated global diplomacy. And the world seems to have turned into one big reality TV show. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.